Welcome to my channel, HFY Story Hub. The alien child was screaming so hard that blood ran from her throat. "Please, somebody help my mom." But the crowd only stepped farther away. Then the shaking woman on the ground suddenly lifted into the air. Purple lightning exploded from her skin. And every alien in the marketplace dropped to their knees in terror. Except one human. He walked toward her. The night market of Korvax, 9 smelled like burned metal and cold rain. Flickering neon signs buzzed above hundreds of cramped stalls while exhausted workers pushed through the crowded streets. Then the screaming started. A tiny alien girl ran barefoot through the market. Her silver hair whipped behind her. Tears streamed down glowing blue cheeks. "Help her!" she cried desperately. "Please help my mama!" Nobody moved. Not one. Merchants slammed their shutters closed. Families grabbed their children and backed away. An old alien woman whispered in fear. "The cursed blood." Another muttered nervously. "Stay away from them." The little girl ignored them all. She finally reached the center of the market where her mother lay trembling violently across the stone floor. Purple energy crawled beneath the woman's pale skin like living fire. Her body twisted painfully. Every breath sounded broken. "Mama!" The child collapsed beside her, grabbing her shaking hands. "Please wake up." The woman suddenly screamed. Her back arched unnaturally as purple lightning burst outward, cracking nearby windows. The crowd panicked instantly. People ran. Food carts overturned. Someone shouted, "She's infected!" But hidden beneath the fear, something else spread through the crowd. Recognition. The symbol glowing beneath the woman's skin was known across the outer colonies. A mark connected to illegal experiments, to disappearances, to death. Then came the sound of boots. Heavy, mechanical, military. 4 armored guards pushed through the terrified crowd, their black helmets glowing red under the market lights. One raised an energy rifle immediately. "Stand back," the commander barked. "The infected subject will be terminated." The little girl froze. "No," she cried. "Please don't hurt her." The commander ignored her completely. He aimed directly at the mother's chest. Then, someone grabbed the rifle barrel and pushed it aside. The shot blasted harmlessly into the pavement. The entire crowd gasped. The guards stared in shock. A human mechanic stood between them and the woman. Tall, dirty work jacket. Grease stains on his hands. Nothing special. At least, that was what everyone thought at first. The commander's voice turned cold. "You interfere with military quarantine, human?" The man didn't answer immediately. He knelt beside the shaking woman instead. His eyes narrowed the moment he saw the energy moving beneath her skin. Recognition flashed across his face. And for the first time, fear. The little girl grabbed his sleeve desperately. "You're human," she whispered through tears. "Humans fix impossible things. Please save her." The mechanic looked down at the child. Her tiny hands trembled violently. Nobody else had even touched her. But the human gently held her hands still. "What's your name?" he asked softly. "Ellyra." He nodded once, then looked back at the woman. "This isn't a disease," he muttered quietly. The commander stepped forward aggressively. "You will move aside immediately." The human stood slowly. "No." The single word stunned the entire marketplace. The commander's rifle powered brighter. "She carries corrupted energy. Protocol demands termination." The human's eyes hardened. "She's not corrupted," he said quietly. "She's being hunted." Silence crashed over the street. The guards shifted uneasily. Even they hadn't expected that answer. The commander lowered his voice. "You know what this is." The human didn't respond. But inside his mind, old memories clawed back to life. Classified files. Secret experiments. Children disappearing from colonies. Bodies destroyed by unstable energy trials. And one name connected to all of it. Dr. Vare. A scientist so feared that entire systems erased his research from public records. The mechanic slowly looked at the glowing marks spreading across the woman's skin. then at the terrified child beside her. His stomach tightened. Oh God! The girl had the same eyes mentioned in the files. The same energy signature. The commander noticed his expression instantly. "You know who they belong to," he whispered. The human finally spoke. "How long until he arrives?" The commander went pale. That reaction alone gave the answer. Very soon. Suddenly every screen in the marketplace flickered black. Then a symbol appeared across all of them simultaneously. A silver circle, split by a vertical line. The crowd panicked instantly. People started running again, shouting, screaming, because everyone in the outer colonies knew that symbol. Dr. Vare. The little girl looked around fearfully. "He found us." Then the mother suddenly opened her eyes. Bright gold. Not purple. Gold. She grabbed the human's wrist with terrifying strength. Her voice came out weak and broken. "Run!" The market lights exploded overhead. Darkness swallowed the street. And from somewhere above the city, something enormous roared. The guards immediately looked skyward in horror. Dropships. At least 12. Descending fast. The commander backed away slowly. "No," he whispered. "He came personally." The little girl clung tightly to the human now. Terrified. Shaking. The mechanic stared at the burning skies above Korvax 9. Then he made a choice that would change the galaxy forever. He lifted the woman into his arms and turned toward the shadows. The commander shouted after him. "Human, do you understand what you're carrying?" The mechanic stopped for only 1 second, then answered quietly, "Yes." A deafening explosion shook the marketplace. And high above the city, the hunters arrived. The first hunter landed hard enough to crack the street in half. People screamed and scattered as the giant armored figure rose from the smoke. Its glowing red visor locked directly onto the little alien girl. And then the human did something no one expected. He handed the child his only weapon, and turned to face the hunters bare-handed. The night sky above Korvax 9 burned crimson. Massive dropships hovered between the towers like metal predators. Searchlights swept across the streets while civilians fled in every direction. The human mechanic ran through the chaos carrying Lyra's unconscious mother in his arms. "Faster!" Lyra cried beside him, tears streaming down her face. "They're coming!" Heavy impacts thundered behind them. Hunters were landing. Real hunters. Not colony guards. These were Dr. Vare's private soldiers. Genetically modified. Cybernetically enhanced. Built to survive wars. And every single one of them was hunting one little girl. The mechanic finally turned into a narrow maintenance alley hidden beneath the market bridges. Steam hissed from broken pipes overhead. He carefully lowered the woman onto the ground. Her body still shook violently. Purple cracks spread farther across her skin now. Lyra dropped beside her instantly. "Mama!" The woman's golden eyes opened weakly. When she saw the human, fear crossed her face. "You shouldn't have helped us," she whispered painfully. The mechanic checked the alley entrance carefully. "Too late for that." Another explosion echoed nearby. Closer this time. The woman tried to sit up but collapsed back immediately. "You don't understand," she gasped. "He'll kill everyone near us." "Who are you?" the human demanded quietly. Before she could answer. Screech. Metal screamed above them. All three looked up. A hunter was crawling upside down across the ceiling pipes like some giant mechanical insect. Its glowing visor locked onto Lyra. Target confirmed. Lyra froze in terror. The hunter dropped instantly. The human reacted without thinking. He shoved Lyra aside just as the massive creature slammed into him. The alley wall exploded from the impact. Pain ripped through his ribs. The hunter was monstrously strong. Its mechanical arm pinned him against the metal wall while its visor scanned his face. Human interference detected. The machine raised a blade toward his throat. Then suddenly, boom! A burst of golden energy blasted the hunter sideways. The woman had raised her trembling hand. Golden light crackled around her fingers. Even injured, She had thrown the giant hunter across the alley. But the effort nearly killed her. Blood ran from her nose immediately. "Mama!" Lyra screamed. The hunter rose slowly from the wreckage. Its armor smoked from the blast. Then its visor changed color. From red to blue. Energy source confirmed, it announced. Priority level Omega. The mechanic's stomach dropped. Omega priority meant galaxy-level threat. What exactly was this child? The hunter charged again. This time faster. The human grabbed a broken metal pipe from the ground and swung hard. Clang. The impact barely slowed the creature. The hunter backhanded him across the alley so hard he crashed through a stack of crates. Lyra screamed again. The hunter turned toward her. Slowly. Deliberately. The little girl backed away trembling. "No, please." The machine reached for her. Then froze suddenly. Because the human was standing again. Bleeding. Barely breathing. But standing. The hunter tilted its head mechanically. Human skeletal damage detected. Survival probability below 12%. The mechanic spat blood onto the floor. "Yeah," he growled. "Still breathing." The hunter lunged again. The human met it head-on. And for the first time, the machine hesitated. Because humans were not supposed to keep fighting after injuries like that. The hunter slammed him into another wall. Bones cracked. Pain exploded through his body. But the mechanic grabbed the machine's arm and refused to let go. His eyes locked onto Lyra. "Run!" he shouted. She shook her head desperately. "No. Run!" The woman suddenly grabbed Lyra's arm weakly. "Listen to him." Tears poured down the child's face. But finally, she obeyed. She helped her mother up and disappeared deeper into the maintenance tunnels. The hunter immediately tried to pursue them. The mechanic tightened his grip harder. "You're not touching them." The machine analyzed him again. Confusion flickered across its visor. Why risk death for unrelated species? The human laughed painfully. The sound shocked even the hunter. "Because somebody should." The hunter drove its blade straight through his shoulder. Blood splashed across the wall. But the human still didn't let go. The machine's voice changed slightly. Almost uncertain. Pain receptors should force release. "Not human ones," he hissed. Then the mechanic did something insane. He grabbed an exposed electrical cable hanging from the ceiling and wrapped it around both of them. The hunter's visor flashed warning signals. Error. The human slammed the live wire into the machine's chest. Tum. Electricity exploded through the alley. The hunter convulsed violently as sparks erupted from its armor. The mechanic screamed from the shock too. But he held on anyway. Every muscle in his body burned. The smell of melting metal filled the air. Finally, the hunter collapsed backward. Smoking. Motionless. The human dropped to one knee gasping. His arm hung uselessly now. His shoulder was destroyed. And still, he tried to stand again. Farther down the tunnel, Lyra stared at him in absolute shock. Aliens feared pain. Avoided it. Submitted to it. But this human kept moving through injuries that should have killed him already. Her mother looked equally stunned. Golden eyes wide with disbelief. "He's still fighting," she whispered. Then the entire tunnel suddenly shook. A cold voice echoed through hidden speakers overhead. "Well now." Everything froze. Even the wounded woman looked terrified. The voice continued calmly. "A human mechanic defeats one of my hunters with construction wiring." Soft laughter echoed through the tunnels. The red eyes in the darkness stopped moving all at once. Not because they lost the trail. Because they heard the human laughing. Bleeding. Half-broken. Surrounded by killers. And still laughing. Even Dr. Vare went silent for a moment. The maintenance tunnel shook as armored hunters emerged from the darkness one after another. 10. Then 15. Their glowing visors pierced through the black corridors like demon eyes. Lyra's small hands trembled violently. Her mother could barely stand now. Golden energy flickered weakly around her skin while pain twisted across her face. "We can't fight that many," she whispered. But the human mechanic stepped forward anyway. One arm useless. Blood running down his chest. Hunter weapon clenched in his remaining hand. And somehow, he still looked dangerous. Dr. Vare's voice echoed calmly through the tunnel speakers. "You fascinate me, human." The mechanic ignored him. His eyes stayed fixed on the approaching hunters. The machines spread out carefully now. Slower than before. Cautious. Because one of their own already lay destroyed behind them. The lead hunter raised its weapon. "Deliver the child." The human answered quietly. "No. Human survival probability is below 3%. "Then you better hurry." The hunter charged. Everything exploded into motion. The human fired first. Purple energy tore through the narrow tunnel, blasting the lead hunter backward into the wall. Before the second hunter could react, the mechanic grabbed a loose pipe overhead and ripped it down. Steam erupted across the corridor. Visibility vanished instantly. The hunters switched to thermal vision. Exactly what the human wanted. He slammed the stolen weapon into an exposed power box. Boom. The entire tunnel flashed white-hot with electrical interference. Hunter visors glitched violently. Targeting systems scrambled. And suddenly the mechanic was inside the smoke. Moving fast. Too fast for an injured man. He smashed metal into one hunter's throat joint. Spun. Fired point-blank into another visor. Sparks exploded everywhere. Lyra stared in disbelief. Humans weren't stronger than hunters. They weren't faster. But they fought differently. Like survival itself was hardwired into their bones. One hunter grabbed the mechanic from behind and hurled him across the tunnel. He crashed hard enough to dent steel. The sound made Lyra gasp. No one could survive that. But the human rolled painfully back to his feet. Still breathing. Still fighting. The hunters hesitated again. Confusion spread through their network. Damage levels exceeded survival limits. Yet the human continued attacking. Her mother whispered softly beside her. "Humans are terrifying." Then the tunnel lights suddenly turned blue. Every hunter froze instantly. Dr. Vare appeared on the central monitor ahead. This time his expression held no amusement. Only obsession. "Enough," he said coldly. The hunters stepped aside. Then something huge moved in the darkness behind them. Heavy. Mechanical. Ancient. Lyra's breath caught. No. Even her mother looked horrified now. The creature entering the tunnel barely fit inside it. A massive black war machine. Twice the size of the hunters. Covered in old battle scars. Its single red eye scanned the corridor slowly. The mechanic's face changed immediately. Because he recognized it. A Titan unit. Human military prototype. Banned decades ago. Impossible. Dr. Vare smiled faintly. "Yes," he said, noticing the reaction. "I improved your species' old designs." The Titan took one thunderous step forward. The tunnel floor cracked beneath it. Lyra backed away instinctively. "What is that?" The mechanic's voice turned grim. "A machine built to kill entire squads." The Titan's red eye locked onto him. "Human DNA confirmed," it announced. "Then, beginning combat adaptation." The mechanic's stomach dropped. "Oh no!" The machine charged. The impact was catastrophic. Steel walls buckled as the Titan smashed through the corridor. The mechanic shoved Lyra and her mother aside barely in time before the giant fist blasted through the wall where they stood. The tunnel partially collapsed. Dust filled the air. The human grabbed Lyra protectively as debris rained everywhere. The Titan turned slowly toward them. Learning. Analyzing. Adapting. Dr. Vare's voice echoed proudly. "It studies fear, pain, movement, resistance." The Titan's eye brightened. "And humans provide excellent data." The machine attacked again. Faster this time. The mechanic fired the hunter weapon repeatedly, but the blasts barely slowed it. The Titan slammed him across the corridor. Something cracked loudly inside his chest. Lyra screamed. The human collapsed hard. This time, he didn't get up immediately. The Titan marched toward him relentlessly. Dr. Vare smiled again. At last. Lyra ran toward the fallen mechanic despite her fear. Please get up. No response. Blood pooled beneath him. The Titan raised its massive arm for the killing blow. Then suddenly, golden energy exploded across the tunnel. Lyra's mother stepped forward, shaking violently. But her eyes burned like stars now. You want my daughter? She whispered. The air trembled. Come through me. Golden light erupted from her hands and slammed into the Titan. The massive machine staggered backward for the first time. Its armor melted where the energy touched it. Dr. Vare's calm expression cracked instantly. Incredible, he whispered. The woman screamed as more energy burst from her body. But every attack hurt her too. Cracks of golden light spread across her arms. Her body couldn't handle the power much longer. Lyra realized the horrible truth immediately. Her mother was dying again. The Titan recovered and charged straight through the energy blasts. The woman tried to stop it. Too slow. The machine struck her brutally across the tunnel. She slammed into the wall and collapsed. Mama! Lyra ran toward her. The Titan turned toward the child slowly. Its red eye glowed brighter. Primary target isolated. Dr. Vare stepped onto the nearest platform at last, smiling coldly down at the terrified girl. Finally, he whispered. The Titan reached for Lyra. Then a bloody hand grabbed its arm. Everyone froze. The human was standing again. Barely. His breathing sounded broken. Blood covered half his body. But his grip tightened anyway. And when he lifted his head, even the hunters stepped backward. Because something in his eyes had changed. Not fear. Not pain. Rage. Pure human rage. The mechanic looked directly at Dr. Vare, and spoke in a voice so cold it silenced the entire tunnel. The entire colony began to shake. Not from explosions. Not from the hunters. From something buried deep underground. Something ancient. And when the human lifted his blood-covered face toward Dr. Vare, even the Titan machine took one step backward. Red emergency lights flooded the tunnel. Sirens screamed across Korvax 9. Dust rained from the ceiling as a deafening metallic roar echoed beneath the colony floor. Dr. Vare's confident smile finally disappeared. What did you do? He whispered. The mechanic's breathing was ragged. Blood dripped from his hands. But he still stood between Lyra and the Titan. I warned you, he said quietly. You should have stayed away from the kid. The tunnel suddenly cracked open behind him. A massive shockwave erupted upward. Hunters lost their footing as the ground split apart beneath the colony. Then something enormous rose from the darkness below. An ancient human war machine. Its surface was covered in dust and forgotten military markings. Blue light slowly awakened across its giant armored body like eyes opening after centuries of sleep. Even the Titan froze. The mechanic stared at it in disbelief. No way. Lyra looked up at the towering machine. What is it? The human swallowed hard. A guardian. Dr. Vare stepped backward. That's impossible. All human guardians were destroyed during the frontier wars. Not all of them, the mechanic whispered. The guardian's massive head turned slowly. Ancient systems scanned the tunnel. Then a calm mechanical voice echoed everywhere. Human life signs detected. The blue lights focused on the injured mechanic. Protective response activated. Dr. Vare's face turned pale. No. The Titan charged first. Its massive body slammed toward the Guardian with enough force to crush steel. But the ancient machine moved faster. One gigantic arm caught the Titan mid-charge. The entire tunnel exploded from the impact. Then, crunch. The Guardian crushed the Titan's arm like brittle glass. Hunters backed away in panic. Even their programming struggled to process what they were seeing. The Titan fired purple energy blasts point-blank into the Guardian's chest. Smoke filled the chamber. But when it cleared, the Guardian hadn't moved an inch. Lyra stared in awe. The mechanic smiled weakly. Old human machines were built different. The Guardian struck once. That was all. The Titan flew across the tunnel and smashed through 3 metal walls before collapsing lifelessly into darkness. Silence hit the chamber. The hunters looked terrified now. For the first time, the predators had become prey. Dr. Vere's voice shook with rage. Kill them! Kill them all! The hunters obeyed instantly. Energy spears lit up the tunnel. But the Guardian stepped forward. Blue shields expanded around Lyra, her mother, and the mechanic just as weapons fired. Boom! Purple explosions shook the chamber. The shield held. Not even cracked. The mechanic looked down at Lyra. You okay? The little girl nodded tearfully. Then suddenly hugged him tightly. You came back, she whispered. The human froze for a moment. No alien had ever hugged him before. Slowly, despite the pain, he wrapped one arm around her. Told you I wouldn't walk away. Nearby, Lyra's mother struggled to her feet again. Golden energy flickered softly around her now, stable at last. She looked at the human with tears in her eyes. You saved us. The mechanic gave a tired smile. Guess humans are bad at giving up. The Guardian advanced again. Hunters fired desperately while retreating backward. It didn't matter. The ancient machine tore through them effortlessly. One by one, the hunters fell. Dr. Vere panicked at last. You fools! Stop it! But fear had already spread through his soldiers. Because humans weren't fighting for power, or conquest, or glory. They were fighting for each other. And that terrified the galaxy more than any weapon. Vere turned and ran toward an escape shuttle deeper in the tunnel. The mechanic saw him immediately. He's getting away. Lyra's mother stepped forward quietly. No. Golden light gathered around her hands. This time steady. Controlled. The scientist reached the shuttle door. Then froze. Golden energy wrapped around his body completely, lifting him off the ground. Vere screamed. You need me alive. You don't understand her power. Lyra stepped beside her mother. Tears still shined in her glowing eyes. She's not your experiment, the little girl whispered. She's my mama. The golden energy tightened. Dr. Vere's control device shattered. Then his escape shuttle exploded behind him. The scientist collapsed unconscious onto the floor. Defeated. Finally, the chamber slowly grew quiet. Smoke drifted through broken lights. The Guardian stood silently above them like an ancient protector watching over forgotten survivors. Then its blue eye dimmed slightly. Threat eliminated. The mechanic finally collapsed to one knee. His body had reached its limit. Lyra and her mother rushed to catch him before he hit the floor. The human laughed weakly. Okay, maybe now I'm done. Lyra cried instantly. No. Stay with us. Her mother gently touched the mechanic's face. Golden light flowed softly from her hands into his wounds. Not enough to heal everything, but enough. Enough to keep him alive. The mechanic looked between them slowly. The terrified child who trusted him. The mother he refused to abandon. And for the first time in years, he didn't feel alone. Far above them, news of the battle spread across the colony. Then across nearby systems. A single human mechanic had stood against hunters, titans, and one of the galaxy's most feared scientists. 4-2 strangers. And one. From that day forward, the outer colonies would tell the story endlessly. Not about the machines. Not about the battle. But about the terrifying thing aliens discovered that night. Humans could survive almost anything. But if you threatened someone under their protection, they became unstoppable.